faster, just a little faster.
I'm conflicted. In the past few years, releasing a movie based on tween fiction has had somewhat of a stigma towards it. And of course, by stigma, I mean bad acting, lazy writing, and an overall feeling of kill it with fire. Now, obviously, there are notable exceptions, such as the Hunger Games series or the Harry Potter franchise. But the question is, can the Mortal Instruments count as an exception too? Obviously, the books were somewhat successful, having warranted at least 2 movies, with its sequel, City of Ashes, set for a late 2014, early 2015 release, despite an abysmal box office performance for the first movie. Then again, watching the trailer for that did bring up all kinds of red flags. The biggest of which basically screamed, "We're ripping off Twilight" in big neon letters. But as movies like Serenity and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen have proven, box office numbers don't always mean everything. Don't get me wrong, I still think this movie's gonna suck. But let's see just how much it sucks. This is the Mortal Instruments City of Bones. The movie opens with our main protagonist and low-rate Bella Swan impersonator Clary Frey, played by Lily Collins. Though, to be fair, Clary does seem to have a bit more personality. Okay, that's really not all that fair. This can of soup has more personality than Bella Swan.
Yeah, and after the poetry reading, I'm not going home. I mean, it's my birthday. So, I want to go to a club.
And possibly Clary, too. We basically get a quick sequence introducing Clary, her mother, and her mother's boyfriend Luke, and then the movie goes straight to ludicrous speed. First she's at a cafe listening to some god-awful poetry. Then she's at a nightclub where she sees 3 random people kill this Adam Lambert impersonator. And then we see her drawing a strange symbol before getting into a fight with her mother and running off. Yep, her mother is so dead it's not even funny. After that, she meets her friend Simon, played by Robert Michael Sheehan, and sees one of the killers from the nightclub, played by Jamie Campbell Bower, who was clearly meant to be the Edward Cullen of this story.
I know what I saw.
You think you know.
We then cut back to Clary's mom, and she's suddenly attacked by the Blob from that god-awful Wolverine movie, and former WWE superstar the Kurgan, before cutting back to Clary confronting the guy, and okay, for the love of Jesus H. Christ in a handbasket, will you slow the f*** down? I know you only have 2 hours to tell the story, but it's been 10 minutes and I know nothing about these characters. Hell, this guy hasn't even mentioned his name yet. It's Jace, by the way. He mentions it later on in the throwaway line, but because of that, I actually had to look his name up on Wikipedia while I was doing my notes for this movie. Say what you will about Twilight, at least they had all their major players named in the first 10 minutes. Anyways, Clary confronts Jace and demands to know what's going on before cutting back to Blob and Kurgan fighting Clary's mom. She calls Clary and tells her to go to Luke's house, saying, "They found me," before hanging up. And Clary's gonna run home instead, isn't she?
Mom!
Yeah, that's what I thought. Red?
The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Clary's mom then drinks from a strange bottle and assumedly dies. And nothing of value was lost. She manages to make it home where the Kurgan's Doberman proceeds to... Well, I didn't need to sleep ever again. Though I will give the movie this. While the CGI is lackluster to say the least, that is some genuinely piss-your-pants creepy imagery. Anyways, Clary is able to incapacitate the dog by nuking the fridge, but unfortunately it regenerates. Luckily, for Clary at least, Jace comes in and saves the day, and then they exchange some dialogue so forced it makes Twilight sound like friggin' Shakespeare.
What the hell was that?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Try me.
It was a demon.
You're right. I don't believe you.
Clary then goes down to ask her neighbor what's going on, only to get a free tarot reading, an exposition dump about something called shadow hunters, and how Clary apparently has selective amnesia. Most likely so the audience can be treated to more lively exposition dumps like this one. The exposition dump is then interrupted by a strange noise coming from Clary's apartment, which, like a dumbass, Clary goes to investigate. Luckily, it turns out to be Simon, which then leads to what may be my favorite line in the movie.
Jace Wayland, Demon Hunter.
Simon Lewis, Keymaster. Are you the gatekeeper?
Though that also just makes me want to watch Ghostbusters right now. Long story short, Jace finds the bottle Clary's mother drank from, and he, Simon, and Clary run off to find Luke, but are confronted by... Black Undertaker Cop. Sure, why not?
Rest in peace.
Jace quickly jumps in to kill him and his partner, both of whom are revealed to be demons, and then Jace takes Clary and Simon off to a building known as the Institute. Unfortunately, as they enter, Clary passes out, revealing that she'd been bitten by the demon dog earlier on. Which is kind of odd, considering in the book, Clary passed out right after Jace killed the dog, and Simon wasn't with them when they joined the Institute, and whatever, dramatic convenience and whatnot. Anyways, Clary passes out and wakes up later in the Institute's infirmary, which looks nothing like the Hogwarts hospital wing, and it's revealed that Clary is also a shadow hunter. Cut through some more scenes introducing pointless characters Izzy and Alec, as well as their mentor Hodge, played by Jared Harris, and a few exposition dumps, including just what a shadow hunter is.
The angel Raziel. Raziel poured his blood into a cup, and those who drank from it became half angel, half human.
Shadowhunters.
He also talks about the big bad Valentine, played by John Rhys Meyers, and his connection to Clary's mom, and then Jace takes Clary to a place called the City of Bones to have her memory restored. This leads to a very brief and very forced backstory for Clary before she faints, remembering only a name. Bane. No, not that Bane, though admittedly that would be pretty awesome. Jace realizes this means they're going to have to visit a sorcerer by the name of Magnus Bane, so he and the rest of the gang, including Simon, go to his house where he drops an exposition dump explaining how her mother always brought her to get her memory modified until she felt Clary was ready to learn about her destiny. Unfortunately, during this exposition dump, Simon gets kidnapped by vampires and the gang decide to go and rescue him. So, after stopping by a church to pick up some weapons... Why do I get the feeling that that church was run by this guy?
I kick ass for the Lord.
I've been waiting for an excuse to play that clip. They burst into the vampire lair only to find Simon hanging from the bell tower.
It's a trap!
Long story short, they save him, but are quickly swarmed by vampires, which leads to what is... admittedly, a really good action sequence. You know, if I was a smoker, that scene would totally make me want to light up right now. Unfortunately, the group realizes that they're vastly outnumbered, but are quickly saved by a group of Twywolves. I call them Twywolves because they're basically the shifters from the Twilight Saga. Long story short, after hinting that Luke himself is a Twywolf, the group gets back to the Institute, where we get some more teases to the forced romance between Clary and Jace.
You play it like you've lost your only love.
Unfortunately, my one true love remains myself.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about rejection.
Not necessarily.
Jace shows off Hodge's MacGuffin portal that I'm sure will have no part in the end of this movie. Clary and Jace make out. We find out that Simon has always had feelings for Clary, making the forced romance a forced love triangle. Simon gets pissed and leaves. It's revealed that Clary can do magic because... plot convenience. And Clary realizes the location of the Mortal Cup. A special cup Hodge briefly mentions earlier as a cup that helps create shadow hunters. Turns out it was in one of the tarot cards Clary picked up at her neighbor's house. So they go to confront the neighbor, but it's revealed that she's actually a demon.
What a twist!
Well, she might have been switched with a demon, but it's never really explained. Long story short, a fight ensues, they get their asses kicked, Alec gets stabbed, and the demon tries to escape, but is stopped thanks to the combined efforts of Simon and Jace. Realizing that Alec's getting worse, they take him back to the Institute while Clary takes the cup to Hodge, who then reveals to be working for Valentine, who is revealed to be her father.
What the fudge pickle?
Long story short, she tells Daddy Dearest where to shove it, and then jumps into the MacGuffin portal, landing in front of Luke's house. Back at the Institute, Valentine and Hodge summon some demon crows, Bane arrives to help heal Alec, and Jace then goes to confront Valentine, where it's revealed that Jace too is Valentine's son. Oh god, this is like DOA all over again, isn't it? Anyways, after that disturbing plot twist, it's also revealed that Clary's mom was inside the Institute the whole time, and Clary and Luke rally up an army of wolves to storm the Institute. While this is going on, Blob and the Kurgan take Clary's mother to Hodge's library, and Izzy and Simon, now joined by Clary and the wolves, get cornered by Hodge's crow demons. Luckily, Clary remembers a convenient rune that causes the demons to freeze long enough to escape, and the wolves decide to stay and hold them back once the spell wears off. Clary goes to confront Valentine, and he and Jace reveal that Clary and Jace are indeed brother and sister.
Oh my god. I'm gagging and vomiting at the same time. I'm vomiting.
You know, I didn't think I'd have to use this clip, but what the hell? Take it away, Cooper.
You made out with your sister, man!
While that's going on, Luke kills the Blob, and Hodge changes sides again, helping Simon and Izzy kill the Kurgan before he sacrifices himself to stop the spell that was summoning the demon crows. While this is going on, Clary, having briefly run away with the Mortal Cup, comes back and threatens to throw it into the MacGuffin portal. It's not the cup. Valentine tries to grab it. It's obviously a fake, but it's revealed he can't since he doesn't know where she would throw it. Yeah, long story short, Jace revealed that to use the MacGuffin portal, you have to visualize where you want to go. That's why Clary wound up in front of Luke's house when she was trying to escape. Also, you're not fooling me. They revealed that the Institute clearly has a replica of the Mortal Cup. And then Clary kicks Daddy Dearest into the portal, where I'm sure he'll never be seen again. Well, at least not until the... Never mind. Jace throws Clary a wand, which she uses to spell out a rune that destroys the MacGuffin portal and supposedly kills Valentine. Yeah, I'm calling it now. Valentine's not dead and he's gonna be in the sequel. After that, Clary goes to check on her comatose mom. Okay, so she's not dead. She's mostly dead.
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead.
And Clary reveals to Jace that she had the real cup in her pocket the whole time. Called it. Yep. Well, that was the Mortal Instruments, and yeah, this movie definitely deserved all the flack that it got. The story is predictable and weak, the acting is bland at best, and the characters have so little personality that you don't really remember most of them. Hell, the only reason I knew who characters like Alec or Izzy were was because I looked them up on Wikipedia during my initial research. The only saving grace of this movie was probably Robert Michael Sheehan as Simon, as he did get a few funny one-liners and did come the closest to having actual chemistry with Lily Collins. Though for this movie, that's not really saying much. The biggest sin this movie commits, however, is the pacing, as the first two-thirds of this movie move at breakneck speed to cram as much info as possible, to the point where certain terms, such as Shadowhunter, are almost not explained, save for a line here or there that almost feels like throwaway lines, and then suddenly drags for the final act. And don't even get me started about how this affects the characters. Because of the breakneck pace, I completely missed the names of most of these characters besides Clary during my initial viewing. Hell, some, as I mentioned, I had to look up, while others, like Clary's mom, were so forgettable and pointless that I didn't even care to learn their names. And to those of you who want to defend this movie, saying that they were obviously planning to make a sequel and turn this into the new Twilight, well, fair enough, that's your opinion. But I'd like to point out a few things. First of all, even Twilight, as shitty as it was, took its time to establish the characters, terminology, and the setting. Second of all, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That movie crams 6 graphic novels worth of story into just under 2 hours, and they still establish characters, personality, and the story within the first 20 minutes. Sure, some elements had to be cut so they could compress the timeline into a week and a half instead of the 2 years the graphic novels have. But it was still paced well. And you want to know the other thing that pisses me off about this movie? It had the potential to be a lot better than it deserved to be. The story had an interesting mythos to it. The writing was better, and the characters in the book seemed to have slightly more defined personalities to it. Hell, the first time I watched this, I actually tweeted that I enjoyed it, same as Beastly. But then I'd let it settle in for a few days and realize that the very, very few pros were outweighed by far too many cons. And with that sequel coming out sometime in the next year, I really don't... How the f*** does this keep happening? Besides, I said I was going to do a top 12 next month, and I'm sticking to it.
Peanut butter disaster.